What's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. Raiders versus the world. Talking about the one team that the world just loves to hate because they ain't us. All right. A lot of reports around right now of the dream team. The dream team, GM, head coach, marry them together. The dream team, the biggest dream team since, I don't know, what is it, the 92 Olympics when we had the original dream team? Okay. Ben Johnson at quarterback, John Spytek as GM. Who are these guys? We're going to get to it a little bit. Okay. Ben Johnson, everyone knows he's probably the hottest coaching candidate this year and last year, too. Almost took the commander's job. Was really close, but didn't, which is good for us. Wasn't even wanting to take a meeting with the Raiders. Okay? Didn't take one with us last year, I don't think. Didn't want to take one with us this year until Tom Brady says, it'll be a personal favor to me if you just meet with us and see what we have to say. Now, one thing that we have to figure out here and kind of put out on the table is the people who are making the decisions now are only the people that have skin in the game. That's it. No consultants, no conciliaries, none of these people are hangers on, none of these yes men are in Mark Davis's ear. The only people that are in these meetings are people that own a percentage of the team. That is all. All right? So Tom Brady being one of them, Ben Johnson, just meet with us and see what you got. Great thing about that is, dude, Ben Johnson and Tom Brady just geek out on offense and systems and philosophies for like an hour without even having anyone else talk, which is great, right? The connection is there. Ben Johnson started with Detroit in like 2019. They were awful, okay? He knows about building a franchise from a poor franchise all the way up into being a powerhouse franchise. He understands it's a process. He also understands you can only do it if you have solid leadership at the top. All right? Okay, why is Ben Johnson a good hire? Why do we think he's a good head coach? Yeah, he has a lot of, wild offensive stuff, but it's deeper than that. Ben Johnson's been an offensive coordinator for 3 seasons. All 3 seasons, his offense has been in the top 5 in scoring. So he's well coached. Like the team produces. And look, make no mistake, the NFL isn't about effort. Okay, if you don't put effort into the NFL, you're not going to be there. Okay, the NFL is about production. Okay, you got to produce in the NFL, and top 5 for 3 straight years as an offensive coordinator, that's production. Because look, Amon-Ra St. Brown, mid-round pick, turned him into a stud. Sam Laporta, you got Sam Laporta in the 2nd round. What are you doing? Stud. Gibbs, you've drafted Gibbs so high. What the heck? Stud. And that's with the actual first-round target, Jamison Williams, not even playing a ton of games because he's either suspended for gambling or he's, out getting hurt all the time. But he makes it work. And I hear a lot about, he's got the best offensive line. Yeah, he does, and he helped build it. He's been there for 6 years. All right, so cut the guy some slack here, all right? Look, biggest thing, he gets the job done a bunch of different ways, okay? And it's pretty cool to see. Offense, he scores multiple different ways, all right? It's like a brand new offense every single week. Like 1 week, he's going to spread you out wide and throw outside. The next week, he's going to do a lot of jumbo formations, and he's going to use the middle of the field, and he's going to run heavy. The next week, he'll be doing a lot of screens to the running back and the tight ends. The next week, he'll be doing a lot of screens outside, different motions. He gets it done different ways. And this is why it's impressive. You would think if you have such a multiple offense where you run so many different sets, so many different types of plays, not just plays themselves, but types of plays, you think it'd be a lot harder to get all that stuff down, to be tight and to execute. This is not an overly penalized team. Okay, overall, they were like 12, 13, 14 in the last few years. They're like in the middle of the pack penalized teams with all of the differences that they have going on here. So take a look at that as, a very well-coached team, a very well-coached offense, a very productive offense, and a very multiple offense. They attack you in a bunch of different ways. All great things to say about his coaching ability, all right? Didn't have a lot of household names at skill positions, right? His best offensive player as receiver is Amon-Ra St. Brown, and that dude, he played at SC, and he was a mid-round pick, right? You heard that Amon-Ra St. Brown is says the names of the 16 receivers that were taken ahead of him every year, but yeah, he was the best one basically, or one of them. So he's able to put his players into positions to succeed, and they don't have to necessarily be household name superstar players. He will make them into stars. So he makes stars. Another huge plus for Ben John. The O-line cannot be understated. Offensive line has been an issue for the Raiders for a little bit of time now. This is the time for us to reset, because two of the biggest positions, besides quarterback, we'll have to take care of that as a separate, video, and we will. Two of the biggest, deepest classes in this year's draft are the offensive line and running back. There are a lot of studs at offensive line and running back. You can get yourself what would have been last year like a second round pick in the third or fourth round at offensive line or running back in this draft. So, two of the big areas that we need help in, and two of the big areas that are pluses for Ben Johnson with the Lions, are the offensive line and the running back position, and we can fortify both of those in this draft this year. Okay, that's one part of the dream team. You can't have a team with one person, right? You need to have at least one more. And that one more is John Spytek, the assistant general manager from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, Tampa Bay Bucks, how do they do it? They lost Godwin almost the entire season. Mike Evans was in and out. They found Bucky Irving, 5th round pick, ends up being a stud, right? Why is John Spytek such a hot name at GM? Well, number one, he just happened to be a teammate of Tom Brady at Michigan. He was his freshman year at Tom Brady's senior year, I think it was in 1999. So that's part of it. They know each other, okay? And they've kept in contact throughout the years. John Spytek was one of the integral pieces that helped bring Tom Brady in to Tampa Bay. Not only that, he also brought in Gronk that year. Before that, he was on the Denver staff that was also a piece that brought in Peyton Manning and won a Super Bowl that year. Look, wherever this guy goes, good things happen, okay? Let's take a look at that 2020 Super Bowl season, okay? Brings in Brady. Brings in Gronk. Here's another one, the one that people forget. He re-signs Ndamukong Suh, okay? Ndamukong Suh was on one-year deals, right? He re-signs Ndamukong Suh. That's a huge get. It was a huge get for them because he was going to go to, he was a mercenary. There was talk about Ndamukong Suh coming to the Raiders. And he's just like, I'm just going to go wherever they want. He got paid good money, but he didn't get top dollar money to stay with Tampa Bay. So it's another big get for Spytek in that season. But two big, how has he, okay, he can get free agents, which is fine. We have a lot of cap space this season. Two integral pieces to that run for the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay that Spytek was integral in getting. Tristan Wirfs in the first round, ended up being a starting tackle for him and still one of the best tackles in the league. I think he's an all-pro. And Antoine Winfield Jr., the safety. Got those guys in the first 2 rounds, bam, bam. So he gets integral pieces for the team, not only through the draft, not only through free agency, but signing his own guys. Home run for that thing. Team is still out there and getting in the playoffs. They got first round of this year. Okay, they made the playoffs. They still won the division. I think it was been three straight seasons. You cannot understate the value of having a person that is not only good at identifying talent on your team, on other teams, and also through the draft, but can get the job done. He can also be a good negotiator. He doesn't put yourself in bad cap space. You're able to sign the guys that you're supposed to sign and let the other guys walk because you can replace them with other guys. Really smart guy, really smart combo. There's a reason they call these guys the dream team, man. You get probably the most coveted head coaching prospect candidate in the last few years in Ben Johnson to come in. Young guy on the right side of 40, I think he's like 39. He's not only accomplished, but his track record is at a high level, okay? You bring that in, you pair him with a guy that you trust. If you're Tom Brady, you bring in another Michigan guy that you trust, you've known for quite some time, has a track record of success wherever he's gone. Not only is Spytek going to be on the same page as Ben Johnson because he likes to build the offensive line, he likes to get his skill position players on the outside, he likes to build a nice balanced team, which Ben Johnson has a balanced offense, right? He also has that familiarity with Tom Brady and have that marriage for a long time with, hey, man, we're Michigan guys. We know each other for a long time. I've worked with you in the past as a player, and now I'm going to work with you as an executive. I think these two guys would be a home run get. There are some sticking points, okay? Not so much with Spytek, but it can be because all signs point to the Lions making a little bit of a deeper run in the playoffs, all right? And you can't hire a coach while he's still playing. Okay, so let's say that the Lions make it to the Super Bowl. The Raiders have to go all in. I mean, Ben Johnson or bust. Because if they don't get, if let's say for whatever reason, something happens where Ben Johnson does not want to leave or he goes somewhere else, I don't think he's going to go anywhere else. If anything, he'll go back to the Lions. Let's just say the Lions win the Super Bowl, okay? And he gets convinced to run it back. I personally think that's a dumb move. I don't think Ben Johnson's value will be any higher than winning the Super Bowl as the offensive coordinator after you're already the most coveted head coaching prospect the last few years. But what if he stays? Then we're left sitting back there after the Super Bowl, probably the only team without a head coach. But if we do wait, what's going to happen with building a staff for Ben Johnson, not only offensively but defensively as well? Now there are some coaching candidates out there who are looking for a job like a Robert Saleh, who might go back to the Niners. But you can get some guys defensively to coach the defense. The defense is good. I think we're going to be okay with the defense. Offensively is the problem. Getting Spytek back in, it's going to, if we get Spytek and Johnson in after the Super Bowl or late after the playoffs, that time where they have to evaluate their own players and get their own guys and re-sign their own players, like, I mean, a Malcolm Kuntz or a Merrick or a Spillane on defense, good thing that, I mean, there's Nate Hobbs as well. Polamalu is restricted, so we can match the offer for Polamalu. So I'm not too worried about that. But there's a lot of players. I mean, we have a lot of cap space this season. There's a reason for that. We just don't have a ton of money. We have like 27 free agents, so we've got a lot of holes to fill, right? And the later in the process that we get the GM in, the later that his homework starts, and that's a problem. So there is a risk, at least this first season, bringing in Ben Johnson and John Spytek, who are being called the dream team, right? The dream scenario for the Raiders. It could be a little bit sticking point because they're not going to have that time, as the much time as other teams do, to focus on the Raiders teams, because that's your first priority. Who of your guys are you going to keep? Because that's the free agency opens before the draft, so you can sign your own guys, go to the draft, fill some holes, and then second wave of free agency, right? That's the only issue that I see with that, but it's a small issue when you have these guys that you potentially can have for 10 to 15 years down the road. All right, guys, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate your time. Go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe on this video. If you're watching me on another platform, like on my TikTok or my X or my IG, make sure to go to YouTube, find Raiders versus the World, like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps. It's the absolute bare minimum you can do besides absolutely nothing. So go ahead and help your boy out. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, everybody, peace.